Now, okay, let's move on to Shaman. Now, Shaman's got some really cool cards in this set.
Yeah, I really like the what Shaman's got and the new stuff.
I think
I
they've
think it's
really
really cool.
needed the stuff they've got as well.
Yeah, and I think it also takes them in a slightly different direction um, to where they have been going towards totems and things, which is really cool because that's the unique thing about Shaman, uh, and it's fun.
Alright, so we start off with the legendary, and I remember when they were doing the live stream and they were revealing the last of the cards, the Twitch chat exploded, if you want to put it
Yeah, everyone
lightly,
lost their minds.
when this card was shown. 6 mana 4/4. Okay, so it's it's gotta have some good good text there.
Yep.
Some very good text. Maybe it doesn't have to be insanity for text, but it has to have some very good text.
Yep.
Give all your minions in your hand, and then the keyword, and deck +1/+1. I guess
Yep.
the real dream with this card is turn 5, coin the Mist Caller. Um,
And then just do anything you want for the rest of the game.
yeah, that's
The problem with so this card, the reason everyone loses their minds because they see this card and they're like, oh, it's a 6 mana 4/4, but it buffs like 15 creatures, so it's like a 6 mana 19/19. Oh my god, OP, please no. But the problem is, like, firstly, you never play all those minions, and secondly, you get this value spread out over so many turns, and you lose so much tempo on the board when you play a 4/4 rather than a 6 drop. Like anything they're playing on this turn, any 5 drop they have, probably some 4 drops they have, or a 6 drop is going to like eat this thing alive. So you're going to lose tempo on the board, and you're going to lose board control. But that effect is like has the potential to be really insane. And I thought this card was insane until I watched someone compare it to Sword of Justice, because if you think about Sword of Justice in the same way we're thinking about Mistcaller, like Sword of Justice seems insane too. 3 mana, 5/5. But the reason Sword of Justice isn't insane is because it takes so long to get that value. And I think for the same reason, Mistcaller might not be insane.
I think
I don't think it is insane.
I think the method really it has to be so much slower for this card to really
Yeah, you have to play a full control deck where you play this card and then just you wait it out. Because if you wait it out with this card, you should win, because your cards are probably balanced normally, and now your cards have +1/+1. Like, you should be fine for the rest of the game.
I guess
I,
the some things you should consider is you play the Mistcaller when you have the elemental. I think it's elemental destruction. It's the card when you have the deal 4 to 5 damage to all minions. So you play the Mistcaller on turn, hopefully 5 if you can coin it out, and then you use the elemental destruction the following turn to wipe the board to really screw with the tempo that they may have built up from you playing the Mistcaller, and then following which you may be overloaded severely, but you may have stuff like Lava Shock. But you'll be able to play on the same turn. It's turn 6. You've got 6 mana. Elemental Destruction, boom, everything gone. You've got 3 mana, but you can play a Yeti because you can play the Spider Tank, but it's no longer a 3/4. It's a 4/5.
yeah, I mean, I'm not sure about the elemental destruction combo. I think that might be a red herring, but I still think this card's
A
like
bit of a
so
long
cool.
shot.
Yeah, this card's like so cool. Like, it's one of the cards that I just really want to play, and I really want to own.
Yeah, it's like
Because
I really want to own Deathwing. I'm never gonna play it, but I just want
yeah,
Deathwing.
yeah, like you play this card and your opponent's like, oh crap, like I need to get going because everything's gonna go wrong if I don't kill
Yeah,
this guy soon.
that's it. I've got like five. I guess you get value from this card if you can play. I think 4 minions and not die. I think you've got value from the card.
But it's not even just play 4 minions before you die, because if you lose so much tempo on the turn you play this, that as you play minions, you can't get back control of the board and you keep dying, like it's still not a good card.
Yeah.
So you need to be able to stabilize and play minions. I think it's a little too slow, but I really hope it's not, and I really hope a Control Shaman is able to put this in a deck, because I want this to be a thing.
Okay, in Arena, this is great. I mean, there are some really, really bad. I mean, I've said this many times, but there's some really bad legendaries you can get in Arena. And the Mistcaller is not one of those legendaries.
Yeah, I mean, I think this card's like this. This card is the same way we evaluate it in constructed. We can basically evaluate it in arena.
But Arena, the meta is a
Um,
bit slower, which is also beneficial. And
that
it's
is true.
heavily minion-based combat. You're going to have more minions in Arena than you are going to... I mean, yeah, in Arena than you're going to have in Constructed.
Yeah, that's also true. Actually, that's a good point. So, but is this card better than a bold fist ogre? Maybe, maybe.
You'll never be picking it
Oh no,
against the
no,
Boulder Fist.
I know you won't. I know you won't. But you'll be picking it against other things that compete for their mana slot. I'm just wondering if this card is actually like a really good six drop. It probably is. In arena, this card's probably up there. That's like a really good pick.
Yeah.
I think you convinced me a bit on that.
In Constructed, I really hope it is, but it's a bit maybe not. We'll find out. I'm sure
Yeah.
that's going to be one of the first cards to be deck made into ladder. Next we have Charged Hammer, the 4 mana 2/4. Your hero power becomes deal 2 damage. This is shocking.
I mean, it's
But
what Shaman's always been calling for. Shaman's been like, guys, where's our Shadow Form? How can we win games if we don't have Shadow Form? Like, Shadow Form OP. Please give it to us. No, but I mean, this card's... I think it's too slow.
You have to wait
Like,
4 turns to remove this, pretty much. Unless you play Charged Hammer, then you play Stormforge, but that's 6 mana. You probably can't. That's an unbelievably slow turn.
yeah. And also, like, a 2/4... So a 2/2 or a 2/3 is... you lose value as you keep adding durability. Because if you play like a Stormforged Axe on turn 2, there's probably something to kill for 2 mana, that has 2 health. Maybe something on turn 3. But, like, you play this on turn 4, and, like, by turn 8, is there really anything that is going to you can get value out of hitting with 2 damage that it's not going to kill you by taking 6 or 8 to the face? Maybe not. So I don't think this weapon's that great. And then I don't think the Death Rattle is actually insane. Especially because it kind of mucks up everything you want to do.
Yeah, because the Shaman synergy, like totems and such, especially with the cards they've added in the set, they're really pushing a totem-centric Shaman. So, and I really think totems are quite a good hero power. I don't think they're bad. So,
yeah, I think some of the cards they've put in the new set are going to be just solid on their own because of totems. In the way Cut Shaman was being played before, there wasn't much synergy with totems, so maybe this card would have fit okay, but I still think it's too slow, and I don't think it's good enough.
yeah.
But especially if you're running anything that synergizes with totems, this card is bad, because it's not even clear that deal 2 damage is that much better than all the buffs you're getting from totems. So, I don't think good enough, but it's cool. Give every class a Shadow Form, please. Only way to balance the game.
Yeah. So, I guess next up we have the misread card on the stream, and then wow, you look at this card, you see 3 mana, you see the first things you see 3 mana, you see Overload 5, and you're like,
yeah,
this text better be insane. And then you see deal 4 to 5 damage, and I mean, at first when I saw that card, I assumed it meant enemy minions. So I was just like, wow, this with Lava Shock, it's just a better Flame Strike.
Yeah.
Flame Strike OP. Like, always pick Flame Strike in Arena. And then it's deal 4 to 5 damage to all minions, and then you're a bit like, I guess it's still hard removal, and Shaman doesn't. I mean, it has Lightning Storm, but I guess the problem faced is that most Shaman decks don't run very high health creatures, do they?
Yeah.
So,
I think the problem with this is, like, not even all mage decks at the moment run Flame Strike. Lots of them don't, because they're aggro, because Flame Strike's pretty slow. This card, if it was deal 4 to 5 damage to enemy minions, would be good. But I think one thing to consider and I think there's things to consider on both sides. But one thing to consider is when you want to flame strike, it's normally not because you've got a great board yourself. Like normally when you want to flame strike, it's because there's 3 or 4 things that you can deal serious damage to or kill. And if that's the case, normally you've like lost your board already, or were cleared last turn or something. So this isn't. It's not that huge a disadvantage that it does kill. That it happens to all minions. But I don't know. I just don't think this card's insane because you don't play this card on turn 3, which means you are playing it on a later turn. At which point, like having mana this turn and overloading next turn isn't much better than using mana this turn. I don't know. I don't think it's good enough.
I think
But it's close.
Yeah, I think it would be tried out. I think it's better in Constructed than Arena because in Constructed, most of the time, you'll be able to play this and then combo it with Lava Shock. In Arena, you're going to have to get some insane value because after you play this card, one, your board is going to be removed that turn if you... Pretty much always if you play that card. So you're going to have to play the card, then you're going to have to play out your minions if you're able to. The following turn, you're basically useless. It's like playing Neptulon. You really can't do much the next turn.
Yeah, if you play this card with Lava Shock, it's good. So hang on, so in Arena, this is... So Twisting Nether is bad because you clear the board, but you don't establish a board presence, so they can take back the board immediately and you're down again. This card is 3 mana, so you can take back board presence immediately on that turn. But you then can basically do nothing on the next turn. So I don't know. I don't think this card is. I don't think the card is dreadful in Arena, just because you can easily kill like Flame Strike's insane in Arena, and this card is a good board clear. But I don't think it's OP.
I think it's above average. There are some horrible epics you can get, but the major downside of that Overload 5 and you can't guarantee you're going to be able to Lava Shock with that is an issue. So, yeah.
And it screws up your curve. Like, if you're playing this on turn, I don't know, turn 4, and then that means... No, sorry, not turn 4. If you're playing this on, like, turn 8 or something, and then on turn 9 you can have 4 mana. Like, a 4 drop on turn 9 is doing nothing. Or a 3 drop on turn 8. So, I don't know. I don't like being overloaded for 5.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay. Next up we have the Thunder Bluff Valiant. 5 mana, 3/6. Okay, those stats aren't bad. Like, they're not terrible. So we want a good text, but like it doesn't have to be that insane to justify those stats. Now, am I correct in thinking your hero power goes off before the Inspire?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So thus, this is 100% pushing Totem Shaman. Like, this card is something I would almost definitely include if I was running a Totem deck as Shaman.
Yeah, for sure.
It's got high health, it sticks around.
This card is super, super strong. Yeah. And like, it almost does push totems like on its own. A deck around totems. Because a 5 mana 3/6, a 4 mana 3/6 would be pretty well like good enough. I think that there's that new dragon card that if you're holding a dragon is a 4 mana 3/6 taunt or something. And obviously Senjin is a 4 mana 3/5 taunt. So this is like a 4, maybe slightly more card on its own. So its stats are good. And its stats are distributed so that you have more health, which is good because it's an Inspire card and you want it to stick around. And if you can get the Inspire after the card, it's pretty good.
Yeah, and
I think this card's just great.
Yeah, I think it's really good, and this is a card I really want to try out in Shaman, because I haven't played much Shaman in Constructed because it's not been particularly the strongest class at the moment.
I also love the fact that this card changes the way your opponent has to play. Like, they already kill most of the totems, but sometimes they leave up the 1/1 totem, or they leave up a healing totem sometimes. Like, once this card's in play, once this card's a thing, like, you just clear Shaman totems.
And
like, you just do.
Yeah, another thing, in Arena, there's a surprisingly countless number of times you get to stages in the game where you do have 3 or 4 totems up on
Yeah,
the board.
that's absolutely true.
In Arena, this card is really good.
Yeah, this card's fantastic in Arena.
I'm trying to think of the rares that you'd have to pick this against. I guess it'd be a throw up if Lightning Storm comes up instead of this. Then you've really got to toss like, don't
You
Lightning
got to
Storm,
think about it.
don't
But yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll see how it goes for that sort of fine tuning. But this card is just fantastic in Arena. Pretty fantastic and constructed. I
really
think it's a
cool
really good
card.
card. Yeah.
So yeah,
And also, and the reason you have lots of totems in Arena is often you don't have enough big stuff to fill up your turn, so you end up using your hero power. So you chuck out like a minion a turn and a totem from like sometimes from turn like 5, if you don't have enough stuff, or not turn 5, like turn 7, turn 8, something like that. And then your opponent can only clear one of them a turn or something. So you end up stacking up the totems because they're the least important thing to clear. And then all of a sudden you've got 2 totems. You play this. You use the Inspire. You just buffed 3 totems, and like three 2/2s are super powerful. This card's insane.
and not to mention that it stacks. And there are actually
Oh yeah. That's so true. That's really important.
and not to mention there are some insane totems that have been added that are just cards. Like one we'll come up
Yeah.
to, which is like wow, what a card
Yeah.
for 2 mana. But we'll get to that one.
That's true. This also hits things like Mana Tide and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
The other thing is, yeah, we should move on. But the other thing is, I'm just thinking when you've got this card in play and you buff those totems, it's hard enough to remove a 3/6, but also you have to remember that the totems themselves you generally want to remove because they have value if you leave them up. So you don't want to leave up a spell damage totem. But now you have something else you need to clear, and also if they get a taunt totem, like it's even harder to clear this thing. And if you inspire more than once out of this card, like that's just ridiculous value.
Yeah. So I guess next, with more totem synergy, we have the Draenei Totem Carver. So it's the 4 mana 4/4 Battlecry gain +1/+1 for each friendly totem, and the instant, like pretty much instant comparison with this is the Frostwolf Giant, which is a 5 mana 4/4. So stat wise, the Draenei Totem Carver is better. So it just needs a decent text to justify below Yeti stats. And I'm not sure this is better than a Frostwolf.
Warlord.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I tend to agree with you on that. I think the big thing this card has over Frostwolf Warlord is you play a 4/4 for 5 and you're really sad. You play a 4/4 for 4 and
You're not
like
too sad.
meh, it's okay. Like it's not great, but yeah. The problem is obviously the Frostwolf Warlord is as good as this card as soon as you have one card that's not a totem, more or
Yes.
less.
And not to mention the fact that this card, I reckon, would be... In fact, I reckon this card would be better if Thunderbluff Valiant wasn't a card. Because the effect of the Draenei Totem Carver isn't large, like justifiable enough, or huge enough to justify removing every totem the second they get out. Whilst the effect of the Thunderbluff Valiant is just such a strong
I see what
effect.
you're saying. I see what you're saying.
So
On the other hand, maybe they work together because it means you chuck in stuff like Mana Tide, Flame Tongue, Totem Golem coming up, and you click the button more often. So I think they can work together quite well as well.
yeah. But I think there are maybe better things that can go in that slot. I will see, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's quite strong enough.
I think it's on the border. Like this can reliably be a 4 mana 5/5.
Yeah,
I think.
for sure.
And that's okay. Like that's good enough. And sometimes this is like not even that occasionally. This is a 4 mana 6/6, and that's really good. And sometimes you're going to want to totem anyway because you've got an Inspire card, or because you just need to this turn, or you're looking for spell damage and you don't get it. Like I think this card may be good enough. It's close. I think it probably will see something.
Yeah, it's definitely worth experimenting with.
Yeah.
Okay, so next up we have Healing Wave. So the card we were referring to earlier, I'm talking about Flash Seal in the previous video. The Healing Wave is the 3 mana, restore 7 health. So it's almost an Healing Touch at the moment, and Healing Touch was run at one point. So
Healing Touch, of course, is a 3 mana, 8, restore 8 health.
Yeah, but this could have an insane upside to it, right? Because if the Joust goes off, I mean, it doesn't say Joust, but it might as well say Joust. But I reckon it doesn't say Joust because it's not a minion, right?
Well, no, the Joust minions don't say Joust either. They just say Battle Cry.
That's a fair point.
But yeah, this card was super, super hyped. Like, people saw this deck and they're like, this card, and they were just like, oh my god, aggro's over. We got it. Thanks, Blizzard, we've done it. And this card is, like, that's not completely ridiculous, because this card is really good. Restore 14 health is pretty insane for 3 mana. Like, that's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, I guess because it is so... It's not that expensive. So you can play cards at the same time. It's not like ever playing Lay on Hands in a desperation move. When you play a Lay on Hands, that's it. You're done. Like, that's your turn over.
Yeah, exactly.
You got 7 more mana to play with. That's a lot.
Yeah, and the other thing is, the Joust mechanic, the problem with lots of the Joust cards is they're unreliable. And one of the reasons they're unreliable is because lots of the decks you fight are mid-range deck or they're control decks. The thing about this card is it's super... The time you need it is when you're playing an aggro deck. And that's when this card is really much more likely to be for the Joust to go off than if you're playing against some other deck.
But you don't...
Like, if you're playing against a control deck, 7 health, that probably does the job. But if you're playing against an aggro deck and you restore 14 health, like, that might just be it. That might just be game.
Yeah.
Against, like, Face Hunter or something.
Yeah.
So, I think this card's really good. I'm really glad it's in the game. And I think it will see play.
I agree. I definitely think it will see play. In Arena, this card... In fact, we got to mention earlier, the Draenei Totem Carver. In Arena, I think it's a decent card.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, Healing Wave.
Above average, probably. Yeah. Because First Wolf Warlord is good in Shaman.
In Arena, okay. This in Arena...
This in Arena is much worse than it is in Constructed, I think, because in Constructed you're using it for a specific purpose, which is dealing with aggro.
Yeah.
Whereas there aren't really aggro decks as such in Arena, because everyone's basically running a sort of mid-game / control-ish type of deck. Everyone's basically running the same deck. So in that meta, health isn't super important. So you don't really want to use this card, just like you don't really want to use Healing Touch. Yeah. And you can't reliably win the Joust. So I think this card's probably below average.
I completely agree. In Arena, this card is for sure below average.
So Insanely Constructed, pretty bad in Arena.
Yeah. Next up, we have the Tuskar Totemic. Now, this is a 3 mana, 3/2. So we're expecting some good text here. And it's Battle Cry, summon, keyword, any random totem. So this includes the totems you can get from your hero power.
And the ones you don't get from your hero power.
Yeah, and the ones you don't get from your hero power, which are stuff like Mana Tide, Flame Tongue, and the one that's going to come up shortly. I think this is definitely a strong card and would definitely see play in a Totem Shaman deck. What do we expect to get? I think, what happens if we get just a normal what happens if we get like a spell damage totem?
Good enough.
I think it's just about good enough value. I think.
So a 3/2, that's like 2 mana, but you kind of want something more for 2 mana. So this has to be like 1 and a tiny bit worth of Battle Cry. And normally we say like the hero power is worth about 1 in most scenarios. Like a 1/1 is worth about 1. So I think even in a bad scenario, this card is pretty decent. Like, it's pretty fair if you get a spell damage or a taunt or a healing or a searing totem. but I think this card's actually really, really good. Because if you play this in a deck with totems, like all of a sudden, even if that totem sucks, they have to remove it because Thunderblock Valiant or Grey Knight Totem Carver are going to make really good use of it. And also, if you get something better than the standard hero power totems from this card, then it's insane. Like if you get Totem Golem, which is a 3/4, this card's obviously like insane. If you get Mana Tide, it's insane. Flame Tongue, it's pretty good. Sometimes it won't be in the right position, but I think this card's really, really good.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, if you get the new totem, the 2 mana 3/4, that's like this card is just wow. It's just completely would if you play that on turn
That,
3,
that like sometimes will win the game
that could outright just swing the game.
because you could have played a Spider Tank, but you played a Spider Tank and got a 3/2. That's absolutely huge.
Yeah. So
So
I'm really
I think
hyped.
I would. Yeah, I definitely expect us to see substantial playing constructed in arena. It's definitely above average. I think.
I'd say it's
Maybe
good in arena.
I'd say it's good. Yeah, not insane because you won't have stuff that combos with it, but
Yeah.
still good.
But
And I really like all these Tusker guys. They look really cool.
yeah, but I'm really hyped now for the the Totem Shaman.
What do you think about Totemic Might? Because that's a card that was already in the game. Give all your totems plus 2 health. I think it's 2 mana. I don't really know because no one ever ran it because the card sucked, and everyone laughed at it. But
I thought
now
that was a 0 mana card.
Oh, is it a 0 mana card? Is it a 0 mana give you totems
It
plus 2 health?
may be. One moment.
I think that makes more sense.
Oh, their phone work for me.
But like all of a sudden, that card's not ridiculous because if you buff your totems, then
Yeah, it's
give
0
them
mana.
health. Okay, so that card's not bad anymore, or not that bad, because if your healing totem is actually a 2/2, giving it plus 2 health is important, and might actually be value. Even if it's not being buffed by Thunderblock Valiant, if you're going to play Grey Knight Totem Carver and you want it to live, maybe it's good enough, probably not, but still value.
I reckon you've got value if you play that with such a totem synergistic deck. If you play that on 3 totems, that's pretty big.
Yeah, and also the crucial fact is you can get that on like Totem Golem, and you can get that on Mana Tide, and you can get that on Flame Tongue, which you probably will be running at least several of. You definitely run Totem Golem in a Totem deck because it's an insane card. You probably run Flame Tongue because it's already seen play because it's a great card, and maybe you run Mana Tide. Probably.
I think you would just for the card draw because
I'm not sure if you can afford to be that slow, but if you do,
but I think
then
it's just
maybe
another
Totemic Might
it's just
comes back.
another totem. It's not only is it now what it is at the moment, which is a card draw mechanic, which is relatively slow, but it's a card draw mechanic which needs to be removed.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you start getting these 5 health totems, the Thunderblock Valiant is going to step in and start really pumping them out because those are really hard to deal with. 5 health is a lot.
Yeah.
Like your Shredder isn't going to be able to like one hit those anymore.
Yeah. Totemic might just not be good enough because it's not a great card on its own, but I just really like the fact that what was once a completely garbage card may actually become playable. So we'll see.
It'll depend on how good the how many essential cards there are that need to be put in, and then which ones it's competing on the borderline. So, the next 2 cards, the first one, this is it could have been such a good card. 2 mana, draw 2 cards, and then overload 2.
Yeah. I think not good enough.
They could have just made it overload 1. They really
I always find the overload thing kind of annoying me about Shaman. But the problem is with this card is having overload 1 would be really good because that way having some overload isn't actually that bad because you can unlock it with something like Lava Shock. You can use it to buff something like what's it called? Unbound Elemental.
Yeah.
So that's not even that bad, and it's still on the level of Arcane Intellect, which sees some play. So it would allow Shaman some card draw and some more controlling aspects, which would be really cool. It just so happens that Blizzard decided they don't actually like Shaman, so they're going to give this card, which sucks.
Yeah, so now
You play the,
Shaman, they were gonna
yeah, you
have.
play this card because you want to draw cards, but so you give up tempo in order to do that because you can't play as much on this turn. But then you also have to give up significant tempo next turn because you've overloaded yourself.
Yeah, you can't
So
play this on turn
like
2 because, as you said, you play this on turn 2. Let's say it's been them. They've played their Bloodman. You played Ancestral Knowledge. You have a 2-drop in hand, but the next turn you can't play it because it's overload 2 and you have 3 mana, so you're left with 1. They play their 3-drop, they play a Spider Tank. By the time you can play something on the board, they're in such a leading position by that point.
yeah, but I mean you wouldn't play this on turn 2 anyway. I think
Yeah.
the bigger problem is that you can't even play this on like turn 6 because you play this on turn 6 and when your opponent's playing like a 6-drop, you're playing a 4-drop, and then next turn they're playing a 7-drop and you're playing a 5-drop. Like you may have drawn like insane cards, but you're still only playing a 5-drop. So you're probably so behind on tempo, it doesn't matter. Four mana for 2 cards is too much.
Okay, but the next one is a brilliant, huge card. The Totem
One of the best
Golem.
cards in the expansion.
For sure, like,
Yeah.
this is insane. So you thought Spider Tank was good value. Totem Golem is 1 less mana. Like,
Yep.
wow. 2 mana, 3/4. And Overload 1, it's not a big deal.
We just went over a couple of reasons why Overload is sometimes like not even that bad. You can buff stuff and get removed. And also critically, like if you play this on turn 2,
You can still play something the
then
next turn, probably.
yeah, but also like my point is that a 2 mana Overload 1 card has the advantage over a 3 mana card of being able to be played on 2, and that's huge
Yeah.
because this thing eats every 2-drop
And
pretty much.
with,
Like yeah, every 2-drop.
yeah, and with all the, like, all the totem buffs that have come in with this expansion,
Yeah.
it's like, if you compare this with Spider Tank, the totem, the fact that it's a totem, puts it on the same level in terms of like just base stats. Except this can be out earlier, which is even better.
Yeah.
So
This card is like one of the best 2-drops in the entire game.
yeah. What even competes with this card as a better 2-drop?
Um,
Juggler has.
I'm not sure. Yeah, Juggler's good. I quite like the Wild and Sapomatic. It never got that much play, but it looks like an overpowered card. 2 mana 3, 2 mana 3. There's some good ones, but this one's definitely one of the best.
So I'm really hyped for this card.
And I'm really hyped for Shaman as well. I think Shaman got a big change and weren't seeing that much play, or a little bit of Mech Shaman, but there should be some interesting Shaman play after this expansion, I think.
I'll definitely be running my Totem Shaman deck once the expansion's out.
Yep.
So yeah, I guess that concludes all the Shaman cards there, right?
Yes.